Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, from my attempt at a French introduction, you know that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent, and antique Italian decks to help me pull out a concise message from my other weekly spread. And my other weekly spread these days is a fairly small spread. It's my back to basics spread within the Thoth system. I'm doing a deep dive into the Thoth tarot created by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. So it's a smallish spread, but still I like doing this recapitulation, this restatement, this chance to explore another way of looking at the message from the previous spread. Yeah, I'm not asking the tarot I'm not challenging the tarot. Well, what do you really mean, really? I'm trying to dive into the original message. So, in order to really understand why I'm reading these cards the way I'm reading these cards in the first place, it would be beneficial for you to go back and see the original spread that this spread is coming from. Because the question asked of this spread is, what is the central message for this week's back to basics 3-card spread? So if you haven't seen that spread, that video, I recommend going to see that first. And I'll put a card up here for you to click on and hop on over and take a look at that reading. If you do that, then you'll understand this one much better. Remember, you don't have to watch any of these videos in one segment. For example, if you don't have time to watch a 30, 40-minute video, you can break it up into bits. Yeah? Watch a little bit, go away, come back, watch a little bit more, go away, come back. It's perfectly fine. I think it will hold together. So friends, the title for this week's Thoth video was The Bigger Person. Now, The Bigger Person. And I chose that title because I had seen a meme on Facebook that made me think that people are understanding the idea of what being a bigger person means. Now, to me, being a bigger person doesn't mean absorbing other people's bullshit and just letting them walk all over us. That's not being the bigger person. That's actually being a smaller person. That's being a weaker person. To be the bigger person, we don't do that. To be the bigger person, we allow that, again, bullshit to either bounce off of us or to fly by us. We don't let it affect us. That's not absorbing it. It's letting it go. It's not letting it bother us. And rather, holding our own integrity, holding ourselves upright, and finding a way around, through, over, under, whatever the bullshit that seems to be coming towards us. That's being the bigger person. It's not absorbing it, it's letting it not affect us. And realizing its meaninglessness. Right? And that whole video was about that, finding pleasure, about finding ways to work with other people. So, I pulled out the same deck I used last week because I really liked this tarot. And you'll see it again in just a moment. What am I going to do? I will show you the cards and we'll talk about it. I'll show you the cards, I'll show you the question I asked of the cards, and then we'll read the cards. Are you all ready? Here we go. What do you think of this deck? What do you think of the cards from this deck? Do you like them? I used this deck last week. This is a redrawing of the Tarot de Paris, and just putting it out there, Artisan Tarot, I'm still waiting for your version of this deck because I know your cardstock is just to die for, and I know your work is beautiful, and I've been waiting, but I saw this redrawing available, and so I snatched a copy because I like having a deck that's easier to see. The Tarot de Paris, if you have it, or you've ever seen it in person, the color and the way the deck ended up looking after centuries makes it really difficult to see exactly what it is you're looking at. And the images, a lot of the images are already kind of distorted in the first place. So yeah, it's difficult to tell. So having a redrawn, recolored edition is very, very helpful. Even though we know that the artist is making specific choices to change things to make more sense, right? So it's still, I think this is a beautiful deck. And I love it. I love the faces on the people. I love the fact that the pages are not all that young in this deck. Of course, they're valets here because it's French. The valets are not that young. They're bearded ones. They look kind of old. I like that because we are all, whether we are in male bodies, in female bodies, in cis bodies, in trans bodies, in intersex bodies, in non-binary bodies, whatever. We all are pages, we're all knights, we're all queens, we're all kings. We have all of that within us. So having more diversity, skin tone. There is no skin in this deck. Yeah, all of the people are the color of the background of the card. There's no skin tone in this. So there's no even a need for diversity, you could say, because there's no skin to show diversity. It's just line work, right? However, there is diversity in, you could say, body size, there's diversity in age, there's diversity in sanity, in perhaps mental state. It's just a beautiful deck. And so we have those 3 cards from the Tarot de Marseille, and there was 1 card at the bottom from an Oracle deck, and we'll go back and look at that later. But we'll start off with the 3 cards. Oh, and if you want to get these decks, there will be links in the description box below for both the redrawing of the Tarot de Paris. If you want just a facsimile kind of copy, let me know. I'll give you a link to the Sixtus version of that, which is wonderful. I have it. But I like having this version as well. And then I'll have a link to the Oracle deck as well. Okay? As well. So, here we are. 3 cards, left to right. You saw the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and then Judgment. A lot of fire, which is interesting because the spread that this is responding to was all about mostly water and a little bit of earth. So having these 2 cards be fire, Queen and Knight, and then Judgment. A lot of people associate Judgment with with the element of air. I believe. Oh gosh, now it's gone. It's gone from my head. Okay, never mind. Let's just move on. But this seems like a very active set of cards to me, rather than the more receptive cards that were in the previous spread. And you saw from the way that, from the line of gaze, yeah, the Queen and the Knight were facing each other, right? Let me see if I can hold them up for you. Yeah, they seem to be facing each other, and the posture of the Knight makes me think that they're not only facing each other, but they are facing off. Now that there's a little bit, there's conflict there, perhaps. Perhaps. Which is interesting because in the larger spread this week, we're asked to navigate. Well, we're asked to join opposites. And so these 2 being opposing in a sense, at least as far as image goes, opposing seem to be significant. So who is the Queen of Wands? We got a beautiful card here. Do you notice where her cloth is coming out of? Do you notice that the blue cloth, which goes up and over her shoulder, yeah, seems to be emanating, at least to me it seems to be emanating from between her legs, from a hole in her dress between her legs. Do you see that? Which is interesting because there's a very strong sexual component to the wands, and especially the Queen of Wands. But all of the wands. So there's this birth thing, this generation, sexual generation, that is part of this image of the Queen of Wands that I think is fascinating. The Queen of Wands is the one of courage. I would associate the Queen of Wands astrologically with Aries. Yeah? Courage, determination, and joy. The Queen is the Queen of satisfaction, the satisfaction of living creatively. And that creativity can actually be the genesis of a whole other person, or it could be creative in another sense. Yeah, the sacral chakra, the creative chakra, is down in a similar area, right? The Queen of Wands is sexual and a sexual and a creative person. She's passionate. And remember, I'm saying she, but we all have she's within us. We all have he's within us. No, it doesn't matter what body we're in and what gender or non-gender we associate with us, we associate ourselves with. We have it all in here. So get over it. Whether if you're a man, you've got he's in there, you've got she's in there, you've got they's in there. Now, if you're a woman, you've got he's in there, you've got she's in there, you've got they's in there. We've got it all. So, we have this sexual, creative her within us. This passionate female within us. I'm sorry, the passionate, that female, let's say female, feminine within us. And, like I said, I associate the Queen of Wands with Aries because the Queen of Wands is also impulsive and instinctive. Yeah, Aries is the fire sign right out of the gate. It's the one who follows impulses. Now, you could say Sagittarius does the same thing, but I would tend to associate Sagittarius more with the Knight, and the Queen with the Queens with the Cardinal, and the Knights with the Mutable, perhaps. Now, you can always make your own associations. Now, so we've got this beautiful, courageous, determined, sexually expressive, but creative in other ways as well. Satisfied, enjoying life powerfully. Facing off with the Knight of Wands. And you see here the Knight is very fiery, right? Leaping into the unknown, perhaps, or leaping into battle, a little bit hot-headed, perhaps. Whereas the Queen is impulsive, the Knight is hot-headed. And very fiery. And there you see the wand held over the head and the horse rearing up, and there's a lot of power and energy there, active, moving forward. So the Knight of Wands is the one of action and adventure and fearlessness. This doesn't mean that the Queen is scared, but where the Queen is determined and impulsive, the Knight is fearless and adventurous, and let's do this. Let's get going to the next thing. The Knight also has sexual and creative energy. That's where they join. The Knight is one with his energy. And remember, we all have hymns within us, right? So the Knight is one with his energy. It's channeled instinct. Yeah? Whereas the Queen might be following her instinct, the Knight is channeling that instinct into something specific. It's a little bit more directed, perhaps. And the Knight is creative, is courageous again, and has healing abilities, which is something that I often overlook. But there's a tradition where the Knight of Wands is a healer as well. So we have these two beings, one impulsive and instinctive, one adventuresome and fearless, coming together, and there could be a clash. But remember, there is a joining thread between them already. There's that thread of sexuality and creativity which joins them both. So the question is, how are we going to bring our impulsiveness and our instinctive qualities together with our active, adventurous, fearless, channeled instinct self? Are they going to meet in conflict, or can they join in a, I don't want to say a fiery nuclear blast, but join in one pure flame? I think that's the direction we would want to go in. Yeah, one pure flame. What will rise up from this encounter? Which is interesting because the next card is the rising up, right? We could think of all of this rising up to the call of the angel above, and that's one powerful angel from above, isn't it? Yeah, you can see how big the angel is, and we can see the whole body of the angel in this deck. Yeah, the angel's feet are down there on the ground, standing high above all of the humans below, blowing that impressive looking trumpet. And again, you notice how the body has skin tone, but the face has none. There's no skin on that face. There's a purity, a non-racial purity to that face. And it's just a powerful card. You see, the clouds themselves are flesh-colored, but the face is not. Interesting, isn't it? And that angel is not a pretty angel. It's a powerful angel. We see the power of the hair as well, right? You see the hair is golden, and just like the wings have gold in them, as well as the blue of pure spirituality. So what is the judgment card? The judgment card is asking us for reflection a little bit, but also a calling, an awakening, right? It's the waking up from the dream, the illusion of separation even. We wake up from that to see the unity. Yeah, the illusion of separation between Democrat and Republican in the United States, between white and black, between the illusion of separation between the wealthy and the poor. We wake up from that illusion here. And we have a realization, who am I? What is this that I am engaging in? We might begin to feel an irresistible desire raising us up as we rise to the call. We might experience an openness, like the tombs here are opening, an openness to the call, which is called forth from us as we hear the call. There's an emergence of something that has been buried within us. So it could be an enlightenment. It could be an awakening of consciousness. It could be an opening to the truth of what is. And so that, I think this flows from the meeting of these two. Yeah, these two meet, these aspects of self meet, and then this can happen. This rising, this opening, this hearing the call, because the call is always there. Yeah? It's not like the divine suddenly decides, okay, I guess it's about time. Let's start calling these people. That's not the way it happens. What happens is we finally open ourselves to that call, which has always been there and always will be there. And that's how we are and become the bigger person. By waking up to the truth, to the reality of what is, to the unity that is there. Does that make sense? And there's sensuality here, and there's pleasure here, which is an echo of this week's large Back to Basics spread. Now, friends, we got one oracle card. Let me show you that oracle card just briefly, up close and personal. Here it is. The oracle card is from Patrick Valenza's beautiful, interesting deck called Mildred Payne's Oracle of Enchantment. And there are several colored versions. This deck has several colorations available or that have been made. And I'm not sure which colorations are still going to be available, but I'll put a link below. My favorite is this sepia one, but the other ones are equally beautiful decks in my estimation. And this is card number 34, called The Falling Woman. And I'll tell you the way that Patrick Valenza describes this card. He describes it very clearly as a woman who tumbles from her high balcony and plummets helplessly through the night. With nothing to stop her fall, she will surely die once she hits the hard ground below. That doesn't sound like good advice, right? Leap off your tower and die. Not great advice. And not really even a good summation of the cards that we saw above. But if you look below that in the guidebook that's available, you can get the guidebook as a PDF file, I believe. Below that we have the significance being a time to let go and trust, regardless of a seemingly hopeless situation, accepting that which you cannot control. Which does seem like the good advice for this week. Yeah, we're asked to not absorb what we cannot control, not embody what we cannot control, but accept what we cannot control for what it is. And let go of trying to control it and trust that regardless of the way it appears, we will make our way through. We will find a way to connect. We'll find a way to open. We'll find a way to become, to find and to engage our power. Does that make sense? So, as above, as the Queen of Knights and Knight of Knights meet, there are several ways that they can encounter each other, and the best way for them to encounter each other, for the Judgment card to help us open and awaken, is by letting go and trusting that we will awake, that we will hear the call, that we don't have to control that which we cannot control, that we can allow ourselves to open and become, and in so doing embody our power and activate our power and become our power and be bigger, be the bigger person. Right? Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? And friends, if you want a reading from me, my email address is also below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, we'll get you a reading. Or let me know in the comments below. Tell me, I want a reading. We'll figure out a way for us to hook up and do it one way or another. There are many possible ways to do a reading, especially in these days of technology. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, friends, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you who have hit the thumbs up button and have subscribed. That really does help the channel. And thank you to those who leave comments below the video. That also helps the channel immensely. And so here we are. Thank you. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.